These babies are field tested. That is some genuine Arizona dirt on those. My husband and I have taken the new 2021 Xero hiking boots on over 40 miles. How's that for running a product through its paces? We tested them out in snow and they worked great as snow boots, far better than my big clunky snow boots usually did. But we wanted to really run these through the ringer. So we went to Sedona, Arizona to make sure we got some miles on these guys. In 4.5 days, these hiking boots, the men's Excursion Fusion and the women's Daylight Hiker Fusion, covered over 33 miles, 8,000 vertical feet. That's a lot of up. I feel like you should get credit for the way down too, because it's not like that's easy. So kind of like 16,000 vertical feet. It was a lot of hiking and definitely ran these through their paces. Can't wait to tell you about them today. I'm Katie Kimball from Kitchen Stewardship. Day 1 Sedona, we tackled Bear Mountain. It's the highest or like second highest climbable peak in Sedona. Bear Mountain's about a 5+ mile hike over 2,000 feet vertical elevation. And it's so crazy because when you start the hike, you can't even see Bear Mountain. So you're thinking maybe you're getting toward the top so many times. And then you think, are we actually going to that peak? Oh no. It's the kind of hike where for the last 1.5 to 2 hours, everyone coming down is telling you, you're almost there. You're almost there. You can do it. There was a lot of climbing up sort of a hill of redstone or sandstone and pretty slippery. And my husband Chris started wondering, okay, these Xero boots are minimalist shoes, which means they bend, right? They bend a lot. And he started questioning, well, because they bend, do they have fewer treads on the bottom than other hiking boots? We actually were chatting with some hikers during a, catch your breath break. And they were saying how grateful they were for their new hiking boots because they felt they were really gripping the stone. And I said, so this might sound like a weird question, but we're actually trying to review these hiking boots, these minimalist boots. Can I compare the bottoms with yours and see how many treads there are? I really am like that in real life. So we compared the treads and really about the same, if not exactly the same number and spacing of treads on the Xero Minimalist Fusion hiking boots, both men's and women's, both waterproof and not waterproof, and these other boots. So that was good to know. Now, when we finally got to the top, to the summit, both Chris and I were immediately walking around taking pictures. It was about a 300-degree view, absolutely gorgeous. And when the next couple reached the top, they sat right down. And when the next man reached the top, he sat right down. And I thought, I'm tired. My muscles hurt, but my feet don't really hurt. I don't feel like I need a rest. And so I'd say that was a score 1 for the Xero boots, feeling great for a really long hike. Day 2 was a real challenge. We got up at 4 in the morning, got to the trailhead, and started hiking at 6:08 a.m. That's when it's still dark out. So we're starting this Cathedral Rock hike, or should I say climb, in the dark with flashlights. It might have been good that I couldn't quite see where we were going because this was so much up. It was like what I think of as real rock climbing. I think 60 to 70% of the hike, I was on all fours. And at every, additional challenge and additional up, I would think, there is literally no way I am getting back down. I have no idea how I'm going to get back down. I think I'm going to live up there. I've never been more afraid of heights. I've never been more afraid of actually falling. And usually I'm the person who's just like walking toward the edge of the cliff and Chris is saying, Hun, slow down, get away from there. And I've never been more like fatigued. We were at the top and my muscles were shaking and I thought, I don't know if I have enough gas in the tank to get back down. So I'm telling you, on that kind of a climb, you gotta trust your shoes. You got to trust your treads. And I definitely loved being able to feel every nook and cranny and bump and rock on the way up. We did make it down after seeing some amazing scenery. Unfortunately, the sunrise just turned from gray to lighter gray to lighter gray. So that was a bummer, but it did not diminish the scenery at all. And going down was actually easier than I thought. Thank goodness, since I thought there was literally no way I was going to ever make it down off Cathedral Rock. It's a lot of up, but it was a short hike. So by 8:30 in the morning, we were already at our second hike, a little short 8-mile thing. On Soldier's Pass, we climbed up to these two really cool caves that are a little bit of a side shoot off like the main normal family friendly path. They were super cool, and we'd been told that you could climb up additionally further up into like above the cave in this arch. So now I have the opportunity to see again. Now I've never been so afraid of heights in my life and actually thinking I might fall. It took some doing, but we did manage to get back down out of the cave and took a meandering, just what was it? Was it 1,300 feet, I think? Maybe 1,300, 2,000 feet, something like that. Another 1,300-foot elevation, meandering walk across the top of Brims Mesa, and then a lot of down, down, down. And I have to say, if you've ever done some hiking in the mountains, going up is exciting because you're going toward the summit, and then coming down often feels really long. And your toes are kind of banging on the front, against the front of your shoes. I don't think any shoe can avoid that. But I will say that I thought in my mind, I'm probably really appreciating the wide toe bed of the minimalist style footwear of the Xero hiking boots, because at least as my toes are banging against the front a little bit, they're not being smushed into a narrowing toe bed. My toes definitely did not hurt at all throughout this entire experience. So definitely another point for Xero. Now, at the end of day 2, we started seeing some potential problems. Chris, my husband, wearing the waterproof boots, he did notice that they were a little moist, and it wasn't a hot day at all. It was kind of chilly, and so it shouldn't have been a really sweaty day. Now, when he was researching hiking shoes a couple years ago, he read that in reviews that if you're going to get waterproof hiking shoes, you just have to deal with the fact that if water can't get in, moisture can't get out, so you're probably going to be a little more sweaty. Now, that means that our recommendation is you really got to think about how often you might come into contact with water or snow, right? And so if you really need the waterproof, go with the Excursion Fusion. If you're not sure you really need the waterproof, you might want to go with the Daylight Hiker Fusion, because I definitely did not experience that like sweaty, moist sock issue. Now, whether the sweaty socks played into this or not, we don't know, but Chris did end up with a little blister on the inside of his foot, and the balls of his feet were getting sore. And he said, I don't think I remember, on other long hikes and climbs that I've done, I don't think I've remembered my feet getting sore like this. And so we were, theorizing that maybe it has to do with minimalist shoes having a little bit of a shorter sole, a little bit of a thinner sole. The idea is you're supposed to be able to feel the ground, but I thought, well, do you need to work up to this? Do you need to like train your feet in minimalist shoes? We weren't sure. On my part, I had a little bit of a sore. So like here on the arch, I felt a little bit sore, almost like it was a bruise. And I thought, well, I may have caused that myself, because I really enjoyed with these boots kind of I would step on a rock or a log on purpose and like on the middle, on the arch, and give myself a little foot massage as I was walking. I don't like take a little break and kind of rub it around. I don't think you can do that in normal shoes or hiking boots, but it felt so good. And I thought, did I do that too hard once and bruise my foot? Well, I woke up the next day, couldn't feel that at all. So I do think my theory was correct. So if you're going to give yourself a foot arch massage in your minimalist shoes, just chill out, dude. Like don't kick the rock so hard. Day 3, we went to the Grand Canyon. And Chris decided to test the theory of, to see how sore the balls of his feet might get back in his previously worn other brand non-minimalist hiking shoes. Okay. Now, he did discover that the balls of his feet did not get quite so sore. He did not get any blisters. So, I don't know. Is that an issue with minimalist shoes in general? We don't know. We did notice that Chris tends to walk more on the balls of his feet and kind of like slam them into the ground, whereas I am more of a heel-toe walker. So it's a question, like, do you need to train your feet to walk correctly in minimalist footwear? We don't really know. So, I always give the pros and the cons. And that's kind of some of the negative aspects we may have experienced with the Xero boots. Only my husband, though, not me. I'm still head over heels with them. And they lasted, all the way down, halfway into the Grand Canyon, and all the way back up. And the Grand Canyon's such a weird hike, because usually you're going up to the summit And here you're at the summit and everything's gorgeous. It's gorgeous all the way down, but you have to ask yourself, like, how much gas in the tank will I have to get back up? Because up is always harder. Well, luckily we had plenty of gas because you could see a snowstorm coming in and a few flakes started hitting us as we were getting near the top. And I thought, I don't want to be in zero visibility in the Grand Canyon here. So we booked it out of there. Everything worked out great. Day 4, we took it easy. I think we only did like 5 or 6 miles and maybe like 1,200 feet elevation. That's taking it easy. We did a really popular hike called Devil's Bridge. And you know me, I don't like to go in a box. I don't like to do what everyone else is doing. So there's this line for this beautiful picture, beautiful photo op. And it was only about a 20-minute wait in line. But I still said, man, I don't know if I even want that picture because it's like everybody else's. Until we figured out that Chris could go down low and I could get that picture from both angles and have something that nobody else has. If you love to go against the flow like that, you're probably a great fit for minimalist shoes because you understand that they don't have to like necessarily look perfect. Again, as I mentioned in our winter review, the only thing that neither of us love is like looking down at your foot. They're wider, so they look wider, so they don't look like everybody else's shoes. But I'm pretty used to not being like everyone else. So the second hike of day 4 was to Birthing Cave, another really popular one. We were kind of glad it was chilly weather because everything was less densely populated. Chris used the Xero Excursion Fusion hiking boots to climb this really slick, curved spot in the cave up to what they call the belly button. And we watched a couple other men attempt this and achieve it. Everybody looks a little goofy getting out and down. And so I would definitely say that the treads and the Xero boots were no different, made him look no different than any of the other guys climbing in traditional hiking boots. So another score. One final note in general on a review of this awesome free product sample that Xero sent us. I'm always both sides, is I can't speak on longevity. Yes, we've put over 40 miles on these boots, so that's actually a pretty doggone good test. I'm starting to see maybe a little tiny bit of wear, a little tiny bit of pulling away between the rubber and whatever is next on the boots, just on mine, not on Chris's. And so it's something I will watch, and I will definitely come back to update if I think it's anything that would cause me to avoid purchasing these. Right now, it still looks fine. They act fine. They're not going to leak or anything. But Xero does have a 2-year warranty. So, it's just something to be aware of when you buy a good pair of shoes or boots. I wish I could say the trip ended as beautifully as it started. Unfortunately, on our last day, we woke up to 10 inches of snow outside our tiny house Airbnb. We had to drive 2 hours like white knuckle driving where you go, oh no, you're not going to pass me, big old semi driver. Oh my gosh, you are. Treacherous driving. And then as soon as you hit about 5,500, 5,000 feet, ta-da, it's all green grass and no snow. And it's crazy. And we ended up getting one last little hike in Phoenix to try out the water shoes because it was way too cold in Sedona to be testing those water shoes. Check out our review of the Xero water shoes in another video. But we totally enjoyed reviewing these shoes. It's great that they're so minimalist, they're so light, because we were still able to take a really cheap flight and check our luggage, our one suitcase with all the shoes and boots in there and the souvenirs, kept it under 40 pounds. Another benefit of minimalist hiking boots, because that never would have happened with traditional boots. They're so heavy. To close up the review, the bottom line is, yes, there definitely are some pros and cons. I think it's possible that wearing minimalist shoes takes a little practice. Your feet might have to get used to it before you go on really long 5 to 10 mile a day hikes. It's possible that my husband got some blisters from them. We're not really sure. Overall, I puffy heart loved the Xero hiking boots. They're like a warm hug. They kept my feet safe and stable all the way through this 33 miles and 8,000 vertical feet of hiking. And the crazy thing? I put my slippers on when I got home and 2 days later was walking through my kitchen and tweaked my knee. Which I really think is because the slippers aren't secure, right? So the hiking boots definitely secure, gave me a sense of security up and down all sorts of mountains. And I loved the fact that I knew my feet were in healthy, safe positions. So overall, Kitchen Stewardship gives a hearty 2 thumbs up to the Women's Daylight Hiker Fusion. We give a tentative 1.5 thumb up to the Men's Excursion Fusion, simply because my husband had a few problems. But I would still heartily recommend the brand overall, and we've loved the shoes. I'm Katie Kimball from kitchenstewardship.com, where we help you balance your health, the environment, your time, and your budget, all the way from the kitchen to the mountains of Sedona, Arizona.